What's also amazing is that this is the Queen's apartments here, and this was a covered walkway to the chapel. So this is where Catherine would go to hear Mass celebrated. She'd come up these steps, it would be covered, so she'd be protected from the elements. And if you see the beautiful chapel there, just follow the pathway. You've got amazing topiaries everywhere. And then here's the chapel here. I don't know if she'd have gone into like a Queen's closet entrance over there, or if she'd have gone in the main way, but here it is.
It's not stop here.
So I'm not sure if I explained before, but I've come to Sudeley today because it's famous for being the final home that was owned by Katherine Parr, the 6th wife of Henry VIII. So Sudeley belonged to her 4th and final husband, Thomas Seymour. So she retreated here to have her confinement because she was pregnant with her daughter, little Mary. Katherine came to Sudeley with the full regalia of being a Queen Dowager, though officially, even though she was the Queen Dowager, because she'd married the younger Seymour brother, her ranking is kind of iffy, but she made the world know that she was still Queen Dowager until her stepson Edward married. She was the official Queen Dowager, and she came with a full retinue of staff. She had yeomen at the guard, she had ladies in waiting, which were as per, but she had a huge retinue of staff that all came with her. So Sudeley, as you can see behind me, was jam-packed with royalty, and among them was her husband's ward, Lady Jane Grey. And of course, famously, who should have come with them was the Princess Elizabeth, but she had been sent away by Katherine to protect her reputation after her the scandal around Thomas Seymour and herself. So Katherine came here for her lying in, and it all was going great. It was all going really well. The castle was beautiful. It had all the amenities and everything that she could ever want. It was bedecked as fitting a Queen Dowager, but sadly it all didn't go to plan. She had a terrible birth. Because she was older, she was in her late 30s, it just didn't go to plan, and she did die about a week after giving birth to little daughter Mary, who was named in honour of her stepdaughter, Princess Mary. She's buried here in the chapel, which is just here behind me, and very famously she was dug up, buried again, dug up, looked at, checked all throughout the centuries of her being entombed here, and she is the only queen to be buried in private land, and what remains of her is still there to this day. And this sounds very vague, but I have another video on the afterlife of Katherine Parr, so please do go watch that. Sudeley is most remembered for Katherine Parr and Thomas Seymour, but it did have a lot of royal guests. Richard III did an awful lot of renovation work here, and it's his great hall behind us that you can see in ruins now, and Edward IV's supposed first wife, she lived here, Richard III lived here, and Anne Boleyn came to visit here with Henry on her progress, and it was famously here that the dissolution of the monastery started, or the idea formed for it to officially happen, because Anne at the nearby abbey realised they were using duck's blood, it wasn't the blood of Christ, so it was like the beginning of the end for the monasteries, and it was kind of all put into place here at Sudeley. Anne and Henry's daughter Elizabeth came to visit here quite a lot on many occasions. Lady Jane Grey lived here with Katherine Parr and Thomas Seymour, so it's paid host to an awful lot of people. Charles I stayed here, and then it was ransacked by the parliamentarians, and that's why it looks as it looks today, and it was left to wreck and ruin. Would I recommend a visit to Sudeley? Absolutely, yes I would. It's a really beautiful place. It's just breathtaking. It's right smack in the middle of the Cotswolds, so it's just view after view after view, and the whole place is beautiful. It is partial ruin, but you know, that is what happens with these great houses, and it is such a shame that the Oliver Cromwell decided to do what he did, but you know, that's another story for another time. But it's not terribly Tudor. So in the rooms they've been redecorated, changed, altered over the years, and it's quite, I suppose, like Hever Castle on the inside, so it's a Victorian interpretation. And it's still lived in today, it's still a lived in home. But the story of Katherine Parr is a fascinating one, and it's worth coming to see it sort of in the life here. And they have a lot of interesting artefacts and a lot of stuff from Katherine, the largest collection I've ever seen of things pertaining to her and her reign and her sort of second life here at Sudeley, and with her fourth husband, Thomas Seymour. So yes, absolutely head out to Sudeley Castle in the Cotswolds. You will not regret it.